Hey folks, welcome back. So this video is going to be more along the lines of theory crafting or kind of wish list, I guess. Because with close to 6,000 hours of playtime, I've come across some stuff that it's just it blows my mind that it's not in the game or it hasn't been fixed or addressed. And so this is kind of one of those things. It's like to just bring light to issues or refinement to current gameplay loops that need some updating that wouldn't require any additional assets. Like I'm not asking them to make some kind of 3D model or to make like everything already exists in the game, but they need to add it to they need to kind of do some refinement. So we'll start off with my number one thing that I wish that they would fix is I wish that the one SEU crates, right? The one SEU crates. Why is this? There we go. Would be sold at a kiosk. It is crazy that you have to put a bunch of like armor suits in a ship and then go out there and blow up your ship in a persistent universe and create more junk in the persistent universe in order to create a one SEU crate to have community storage. Like what? Like WTF? WTF? So I and all these assets are currently exist in the game. I should be able to go to a kiosk and pay 2K and buy a crate. Like people have been talking about this for copy. People have been talking about this shit forever. At least since 2016. I mean patch 316. And if I drop some f bombs in this video, understand that that is my true self. And usually I moderate myself uh, big time when it comes to making YouTube videos because I am hyper aggressive in my natural state of being. But uh, the, the 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 one SCU crates uh, improve the gameplay loop, and the fact that you have to create more assets in the game in order to get a one SCU is just crazy. And there's no additional work as far as like I'm not asking the developer to create some kind of ship or entity that takes 7 months to 3D model. No, all this shit's in the game already. It's just poorly implemented. Okay, so we're that's not what I want to do. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I want to do. Stop. Okay, we're gonna do another one tied to the exact same subject. Um, and this is another WTF. And of course, my content is not intended for individuals under the age of 18. This is an adult, um, a mature audience. This is designed for a mature audience. Why the fuck are the one ACU crates not snappable? Like I was doing in one of my videos, I came across a wrecked caterpillar, and I spent like an hour and a half trying to move the wreckage over to my caterpillar, and it was a giant shit show. And then I realized that all of these, they spent all this time, uh, they spent all of this time making this cargo that um, can be tractor beamed over and all this tractor beam gameplay mechanic, but yet the one SAU crate that spawns when you're with your stuff, your loot that is spawned when your ship blows up in that PvP environment is not snappable to a grid. It's crazy the amount of like neglect on oversight when it comes to uh, the ability to kind of incorporate because that's a big PvP is a big gameplay aspect, and if you're in a PvP situation, you want to be able to snag that loot, move it into your ship, have it snap into grid and then bounce and not worry about that crate floating around in your ship as unsecured loot. um yeah, there's some neglect on this aspect because it's like I don't know if it's just The problem that I see is the creator, the developers don't actually play the game. If they were just to sit down and dump like 200 hours into the game and be forced to play, they would very rapidly, all of this oversight would completely go away super quick. They'd be like, oh, why does this not exist? Let me fix this. Right? And then 40 minutes later it would be fixed. Like, why is this so shitty? But that's the issue that I see, is that a lot of developers don't actually play the games that they work on or create. Like they're an asset creation guy. They're into 3D modeling, and they spend 8 hours a day actually developing assets. They have no desire to go home and spend another 8 hours, um, playing a video game. But like, let's say you work in construction, you need that transition to where you go home and you do a hard physical labor job all day. It's nice to go home and veg out and, think about something that's different than your actual work. So I fully understand. But a lot of these, a lot of these disconnects are a symptom of asset creation and developer teams not actually playing the game. Here's another one that I've kind of come up with, is, let's drag this over. And this is my opinion. And this is after about 6,000 hours of playtime over about 5 years. Why is this not? Why is this cropping? I don't know. But it was supposed to show. Let me go full size right here. It's supposed to show the SCU at the top. So another issue that you run into is that you'll get into a ship, and that ship will have, let's say, 250 SCU, or that ship, there's no matrix on how much internal cargo a ship has. So this is a Corsair, and it's supposed to have 72 SCU, but you get into it and its internal storage is 1,500 SCU. But if you get a Cutlass Black, its external storage is 42 SCU and its internal storage is 42 SCU. So this is basically equivalent to a crate and a half, but yet the ship holds 72. There's no synergy across the spec. There's no like rhyme or reason to what your storage is, but what you can haul. Like, every ship is different. It's just a giant cluster. It's like whatever that developer or that asset creator decides it to be is to what is for that individual ship. There's no synergy. So they need to come up with a ship matrix. So if it's like a light fighter, it needs to be 250. If it's a medium fighter, it needs to be 750. If it's a heavy fighter, it needs to be 750. And and if it's a cargo ship, if it's designated as a cargo ship, then its internal SCU needs to match what it's, and how about if you dump 6 SCU crates worth of junk in its internal cargo, it creates external crates in the cargo hold. So when it blows up, it's got 7 crates back there that can be looted. So it kind of ties into this top piece. I don't know why I can't get this to why it wants to float into the center. I'm trying to get this to where. Okay, so this whole matrix layout, and I realize that this is much different from content, but this is really to bring light. And so if you're another content creator, if you can do a better version of this video, man, have at it. Use any of my discussion pieces, counter my argument. It's completely fine. I'm going to say this is a B issue. The internal cargo ship matrix, it really needs to be revisited and synergized across all the ships. Right now it's kind of a cluster because everything is different. There's no synergy. Let's talk about, this is such a big one. This would be so simple to fix. MFDs. Doesn't it drive you nuts when you get in a ship and then you have to readjust all the MFDs every time and they're not persistent? And sometimes the defaults, it's like the person who created that ship and created the default file for those MFDs, like, they don't play the game. And so you'll have some rando like like this and this are kind of in a way technically the same display because they're showing your shield strength. And so I don't typically I prefer to put comms on this one. And like right here, it's showing target and target. And what's messed up is I could put comms down here, and I have the ability to do it, but then as soon as I get out of my seat, it resets. And then every time I get into the seat, I have to put this back on comms. So there's not only is there persistence through stowing and unstowing your ship, there's not even persistence through getting in and out of your seat. If I could get like the halfway point where there was persistence in every time I got in and out of my seat, as long as I didn't drop power, I would maintain persistence on MFDs. Oh, that would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. But it's like they're so, and I noticed recently they do maintain persistence on power configuration, but not MFDs. I wish that it is just so daunting to have to get in there and reset your MFDs every time. And some of these ships, they have a super bad configurations. Like they'll have the bottoms of critical information and the top shit that you don't even care about, like ammo loadout or something, or a weapons configuration. And you're like, fuck, I don't need to see that shit when I'm dogfighting. I need to see my shield strength. And so you change that around. Because I like to do the bounty missions a lot, and the bounty hunter missions, you need to have your heads up display, and I've kind of been able to work around that with the Tobii eye tracker. So I'm gonna say that persistent MFD configuration is one of my highly wish list quality of life updates that I wish that they would do. Finally get around. And here's the mind blower: no asset creation requirement. It's just like, why the fuck hasn't this has been bitched about for 3 years? Like, how is this not a thing yet? How is this not a thing? So I don't know if you can agree, disagree, leave a comment, have a counter argument, tell me I'm stupid. I mean, all criticism is welcome. I totally am okay with it, with any type of criticism somebody has. I do not get offended. Okay, let's talk about this one. So this one is under your bounty hunter missions. It's a little bit of they've just dumped so under your mercenary missions, it's really it's all first person shooter. And then under the bounty hunter missions, it's mainly ship combat. The problem with the bounty hunter tab is that they have the PvP and the PvP missions intertwined together. And they don't do that with the mercenary. And so the problem is it becomes super convoluted because it's asking you to do certificate trials for PvP missions, and it's asking you to do certificate trials for PvP missions, and even doing like probably close to, I'll just make up a number, 1,500 bounty hunter missions because I've maxed the rep out twice. I still have to look in there, and I have to like pay close attention. I'm like, is this the PvP one or is this the PvP one? And I'm like, shit, man, I don't know. And it's just really convoluted. They need to pull all those PvP missions out because I have no desire to do PvP missions because I want quantifiable returns on my time. So if I play for an hour, I want to say I'm going to guarantee that I make 200K or 100K, and I want to guarantee that I grind out a certain amount of rep. So. And I'm looking through these, and I'll queue, and I'm like, oh, shit, that was a PvP mission. And I'll have to drop it, and I'll have to go back and get another one. And then they need to fix that the PvP missions, if they want to call those bounty hunter, then that's fine. And then they, and if they want to take the ones that are actually PvE missions and maybe call those encounters or incursions, name them incursions, or vice versa. Maybe the PvP ones are incursions. And then separate them out, clean this up to where your PvE experience and your PvP are not blended together under the same. Because it's not the case in any of these other missions. It only that that shit show of mission selection only exists under Bounty Hunter. And that's something I wish they would clean up and fix. Um, and I'll give that. I'll give that. Because I spend so much time on that, I'm gonna say that's an A. I'm gonna say that's an A. Just because I have to live with that shit show every day while I'm running missions. I'll move this down. I'll say this is a C. I mean, it needs to be addressed, but it's not as critical as these two. I'll say this is a more of a priority than this. Okay, and okay, and then let's talk about armor lockers. And I recognize that there's a lot more things in the game that need to be addressed. But these are just some of and I've been thinking about this probably for 2 weeks. And let me show you I've been running a Word. Let me drag this over. I've been running a Word document of issues that need to be addressed, right? So like quality of life improvements, crates. Let me find I need to find a graphic of a crate. We'll talk about that in a second, but we'll come back. Let me move this back over. So right now we're going to talk about our ammo lockers. So recently, I've heard that it goes back as far as 2 patches ago. And right now, you have the ability to do your weapons loadout in your ship lockers and your armor racks in your ships. And you can go into your vehicle manager, save a configuration, and it saves your personal weapons, that configuration in your ammo rack. And it's something that's been badly needed to implemented, because you can buy weapons out of the store. Let me show you this, right? Like I've bought let me go to Hanger and show you this Hanger. And I've actually melted this and bought it back twice. Let me go back to this. So let's drag this over, right? So I've bought this package out of the website with these weapons. And the problem that you run into is you'll equip this up and you'll want to use this armor, and then you die before you even get out of the space station due to an elevator glitch or due to a 30K. Man, talk about just being frustrated. And I over the course of my playing experience, I've probably died 1,000 times due to elevators or starving to death, or because you can't feed yourself. You can't drink fluid. You're bugged out, and your armor's gone. It's just out there floating in space. Or you die, and then your body shows that it's in the center of a planet. But that's not where you died. But that's where it's telling you your corpse is in the center of the planet. And there's so many issues with I will call it negligent death, right? That's not to your fault whatsoever. And so the money that you paid, these assets that you paid real money for, are not retrievable. But with the kind of the latest update with the insurance, you can preload your armor set. And of course, the internet's saying it's duping, but it's a soft implementation of a recovery system. And if you think about it in that context, it's a functional way to retrieve your assets, especially when the game is in such a poor condition. So I wish they would complete the other half of that and implement the armor sets. Implement the armor locker. So I could take I paid real money for this, and I can't use it because I'll lose it. And so this, a lot of this stuff's been sitting in my inventory for 6 months, because I know as soon as I'll lose it in a play session due to some dumb, game stability. But if I could stow it in the locker and then just pay in-game currency to get it back at a repair station, that, I'm okay with that. I'm okay, because I view this stuff as DLC. I view all of this stuff as DLC. Like when you buy, or you buy a game and they come up with an annual or quarterly DLC package. That's how I view this stuff. Digital assets. And if I pay in-game real money to retrieve my DLC in the armor locker, man, that would be we can do the weapons now. We just can't do the armor. And I know that was a little bit of convoluted, but I wish they would functionalize the armor locker, because we pay. Here's the other side of this equation: we pay money for these ships, and they are not feature complete. And so the sooner we can get them to feature complete, the more that that our money is being completed on. Maybe that's a bad way of putting it, but it's like hurry up and feature complete the stuff that we pay real money for. Stop selling us stuff that is not feature complete. You know, like, oh, it has all of these features. Well, I paid $200 for this ship. How come only half of the functionality of the ship works? And so this is one of those items that I wish that they would. And I know I've seen videos where they got armor suits and you know, they haven't pulled it over in a patch set. So I know, you know, I've seen it where it exists in Squadron 42 videos. I've seen it exist in other like ship sales where they're trying to show this ship, and you know, and they're trying to sell it, and then you get it, but it doesn't work for you. So I'm gonna put this in B. You know, implement the armor lockers. Like make our stuff feature complete. Stop lowballing us on functionality, and make it feature complete. And okay, let's go to we're gonna talk about the crates. Let me Google this star. Let me see if I can find an image. Star. You know, I've been thinking about this video for a couple weeks now. Bear with me. Okay. I'm trying to find an image just for a visual representation. So one of the big issues with the crates is that they don't have you know, they're all kind of the same shape, and some of them will have like a color change and a serial number on them. Come on, I'm having a hard time finding a good image of a cargo crate, and they'll have the serial number on it. But what I realized is all the serial numbers are the same, and then when you scan, there's no way to scan a crate with like an e-tool to see what it is. And so you spend all this time loading up these crates off of a wreckage just to come to find out that you can't sell it anywhere, like, or it can't be sold anywhere in the game. And so yeah, I'm trying to cargo. Okay. And so there kind of is a soft a soft way to tell is by the color of the crate, and so that's kind of one way to tell what it is. But all those crates should have their own individual ID number. Like, I noticed that they all have the exact same ID number on the crate, and it's like, no, man, they need to go through and they need to put a build spreadsheet, and every one of those crates needs to have an ID number, so that way I can just go to a website and type in the ID number, and we'll use this snip. It's not really the right image, but it'll do for a placeholder. We'll do this, right? Where'd you go? Snip, copy. So we'll say this is a save it. Create. Okay, and we'll say upload. That's definitely not what I want. but yeah, the whole like guessing what your shit is we'll say this is a D, right? Because usually they'll have a, this is not the right crate, but it's just for the purpose of this discussion piece. Um, like why do they not have their own individual serial numbers? Why can't I just go to a website, or maybe I'll just create my own spreadsheet and be like, oh well, 127556 is SAP, and 127558 is OR, and 127559 is stems, right? And then I can immediately look at that and then pull up my spreadsheet and I'll be, oh, that's the cargo that is. Nope. And there's no scan function either. Like, can we please clean this up? Can we build a database? A lot of these are tied to creating matrices. This all needs to be addressed. Let's go back to my Word document. I'll pull this back over, and let's talk about mark for removal. Mark, you know how when you hit the F key and it highlights something green? So now that they've added persistent universe, one of the major issues is that, like, let's say you spawn in your ship at the hangar, and there'll be another ship in there, and your ship's glitching out because there's like landing gear of another ship, or that other ship is flipped over on its side. I've seen that shit nonstop. And then you go, like, you get your ship out of the hangar, you fly away, and then you come back like 8 hours later, and that ship's still there. And you're like, okay, what's wrong here? Like, how is it that can persist for 8 hours, but then other stuff is not persisting? So I should be able to hold F and then say mark for removal, right? That doesn't mean it's going to be removed, but it should flag that in the system to where after an hour, it goes away, right? Mark for removal. So let's see. And then that way you use the population to clean stuff up. The population is helping with server load and helping with issues where stuff is persisting that for some reason, like maybe there's a wing and the ship's gone, but for whatever the reason, the wing has escaped the removal process. And so if you could just add the functionality of mark for removal, it would help get the server load and the assets that are floating around on these space stations and in these hangars, and because a lot of people, like, ships are blowing up on the hangar doors, and then people fly away, and then they hit the wreckage that's there, and then they blow up, and then there's more wreckage there, and then there's like all of these. But if I could just mark all that shit for removal, and then in an hour and a half, does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. But we'll use this. We'll use debris, right? So that's one of the things that I wish that they would add is a system. And I realize that, that might be one of those things that it takes a lot more time and energy for. We're going to call this one Mark, right? So we're going to say this one is called Mark. Where'd you go? Mark. Okay, boom. So we're going to say mark for removal is another D. It's not as critical, but I would like to see mark for removal. And folks, I'll redo this video because this is kind of a work in progress, and I've been thinking about this for like 2 weeks. So we press F and it highlights something, mark for removal. I would really like to see that, so that way these hangars that are boogered up and debris is blocking your ship from taking off, I think that would help the server load tremendously too. Let's go back to our Word document. So we got MFDs, we got 1SEU crates, we got commodity crates have a valid ID number. Ammo persistence, that kind of talks into the hangars So right now you can put your weapons in the weapons locker and then save the configuration. Um, Kind of wish you could do the same for ammo. Like you could save a preload out of ammo. I know that's asking a lot. Um, or have the ability to have an ammo crate where you take the one ACU or the quarter ACU crates that you buy at the store for, and stick a bunch of ammo in there. And so instead of having to re-land on a space station to fill up your 200 rounds of ballistic ammo, you can pull from existing ammo crates. That would be wonderful. Was the ship cargo matrix? Okay, small ships 250, medium ships 750, large ships 1500, and they kind of already do this. Like the Harbinger's got 1500. The Ion and the Inferno should have 1500 if they're heavies. Like the Hornet should have 750, and the light fighters like the Gladius and the Arrow should have 250. Those are my recommendations. Okay, beacons. Um, so, people have been doing a workaround where they go pick up a mission, and they'll go pick up a mission, and they'll put that box in their ship or where they want to go, so it has the beacon. It has an icon or a beacon. And so there's like this cheese workaround for the ability for a beacon set, and it's so commonly used as the cheese workaround. I don't know why it's not a feature set in the game. And so I should be able to go to a store or a kiosk, and I should, they have flares they sell at kiosk. They should have an item that's similar to that. Let's say you just take a flare and you convert it over, and you're calling it a beacon, but it's just a modified flare. And let's say you take that modified flare, and let me save this. Save as. Okay. You take this modified flare. Let's take this. Where'd you go? And let's say you give them, let's say when you pop it, you only have an hour duration, right? And then everybody in your party can see that beacon. And where'd you go? It didn't save right. Right click, save as, JPEG, save. Okay, boom. There it is. Okay, so let's upload this. And man, and it would make it like the multiplayer experience so much better if you could just buy a beacon at a kiosk. Like these assets, you just give it, you use the same asset, and you just give it the functionality of the crate that already exists in the game. But instead of popping it through the mission set, you just pop the flare, and now you have a beacon. And if you want to go throw it on a shipwreck, it ties into the whole salvaging gameplay loop. Man, the ability to have a functional beacon in the game would just be like tie all these existing gameplay sessions together. I would argue that would have a bigger gameplay effect or change than the fucking crate system that's a shit show. Functional beacons. So I think this is a good stopping point. I've kind of been on a little bit of a rant for let's see where we're at on the OBS, for close to 30 minutes. I don't want to make this too long, but I want to have a constructive conversation on some refinement of game systems that are already in the game, right? All these assets and game systems are already in the game. And I'm not digging on the developers. I realize that everybody has their own taskings and obligations and requirements, and there's lots of overlay, and people aren't responsible for certain systems, and other people are responsible for other things, and they're just not tied together correctly. And the way to fix all of this is force, an annual manual 200 hours of gameplay time. Man, that would fix all of this. They very rapidly would realize that the MFDs are a shit show. They'd very rapidly realize that the bounty hunter systems are a shit show. They would very rapidly realize that the cargo is a shit show. um, if they just play the game and understand that some of these systems don't synergize together very well. So it's not, I'm not digging on anybody. This is just my personal opinion after close to 6,000 hours of playtime. So, anyways, I want to say thank you, and please like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs. You can agree or disagree. You can blast me in the comment section. I'm totally cool with that. I have I'm not, will not get offended. If you have a counter argument or you think that there's make a counter video, I'm totally cool with it. Um, anyways, have a good day, and I hope this brings some insight to the discussion piece. All right. Thanks for watching.